Story 2. The Little Girl and Her Daring Adventures on the Perilous Ocean. Once there was a golden-haired girl who loved the deep blue sea. She lived on the seashore with her family in a cosy little cottage, which had inside it an old brick fireplace covered in smoke stains all the way up, and lots of cushiony chairs around it for relaxing. The cottage stood high on a knoll at the top of the beach, where its big front windows viewed upon all the sand and sea one could ever hope to know. Early each day, the little girl hugged her family goodbye, before stepping out of the cottage to stroll along the seaside. There she hunted for seashells in the sand. Whenever she found a marvellous seashell, one that really delighted her, the little girl put it inside her backpack for safe keeping. She carried her backpack and all her seashells everywhere she went. One summertime morning, when the sea was calm and pleasant and seemingly of no harm to anyone, and the sun shined brightly, the little girl walked by herself on the beach, daydreaming about seashells. She wore her favourite white summer dress with a matching white bonnet over her long golden hair. The bonnet shaded her eyes, so she could better spot seashells in the sand. On this morning, she collected lots more shells on her walk. She even picked up an empty plastic bottle which washed onto the shore next to her bare feet. "Plastic bottles from the marketplace don't belong in the ocean, or on the beach," she said aloud to herself, placing the rubbish in her backpack alongside her seashells. "I will toss it away properly when I return to my cottage." Then, without another thought on the subject, she continued walking along the edge of the waves. A minute or two later, after only a short distance, the most surprising thing caught her attention. Stopping to admire the deep blue ocean, which she often did, she saw the largest and bluest seashell a girl could ever imagine. Indeed, the bright blue shell shimmered in the sunlight. Strangely enough, the shell speedily glided on top of the ocean. "Oh, for heaven's sake!" she exclaimed in astonishment, eyeing it closer. "Is it even real?" Her eyes widened more upon realizing the enormous shell travelled in her direction. "I have never seen such a thing," she told herself. "It must be the prettiest and strangest and most wonderful seashell ever, and it is delivering itself right to me." Yet she wondered how to possibly fit such a large thing in her tiny backpack. The bright blue seashell glided closer and closer through the waves. As it did, the girl wondered about it even more. How awfully odd! Maybe it is not a seashell after all. How could it be? A floating seashell? One that sails on top of the water and surfs in the waves? As the seashell approached, now only yards away, a big blue face popped out of the water right in front of it. It was a face like no other face, and its two big dark eyes looked directly at her. The girl slapped her hands onto her cheeks. "Goodness gracious! You are not a seashell! You are a sea turtle! And a big blue one besides!" She was absolutely correct. This was a colossal turtle, high and wide, the shell much taller than the girl herself. And while all sea turtles look old and wise, this turtle looked the oldest and wisest. The giant visitor did not respond to her, however. He merely pulled himself out of the water and onto the sandy beach. "I must admit you surprised me, Mr. Turtle, swimming up to me as you did," the girl said, still in disbelief. She took a half step toward him. "At first I thought you were a sparkling seashell, floating in the waves." Once again, The turtle did not say anything.
"Is something the matter, Mr. Turtle? Do you not speak?" she asked. "You need not speak to me, of course, but I will listen if you do."
The little girl had never spoken to a turtle before now. In fact, she had never even thought to try.
"Oh, what's gotten into me? Why am I even speaking to a sea turtle?"
she went on.
"Turtles can't talk."
The turtle remained silent for another moment, even though he understood everything she said. Then, to the girl's surprise, he introduced himself. He spoke his introduction slowly, and in a deep voice, such as you would expect from such an enormous creature. He stated, quite seriously, "I am the great blue turtle." The girl gave a start.
"Remarkable," she said. "I can hardly believe it. You do talk, Mr. Turtle. You are a talking turtle."
Briefly, she studied his imposing figure.
"I am very glad to make your acquaintance, my darling turtle," she continued. "Forgive my curious nature, but I do wonder. While anyone can see you are a very handsome blue turtle, and a very large blue turtle, even a very mysterious blue turtle, what makes you a great blue turtle?"
The turtle regarded her calmly for a moment. Then he answered, "Have you ever known a turtle who was not great?" In her whole life, she had never considered such a question. She had come across many ordinary sea turtles who were friendly and well-behaved, but were they great turtles? The girl did not have an answer to the question.
"Very well,"
she said, feeling a tiny bit silly to have been so curious in the first place.
"I have walked on beaches from Big Sur to Coronado, and from Cerritos to Belanger, and I cannot disagree. You are indeed the great blue turtle."
The enormous turtle nodded his head in approval. Then he motioned to the sea. "As the great blue turtle," he said, "it is my purpose to rescue sea creatures who find themselves in unnatural trouble anywhere in the oceans. Oftentimes, I ask little children, brave and good-hearted boys and girls, to help me save them. My work is difficult, as you can imagine, and often need help setting so many free."
"You certainly do carry a great burden if you must swim to every sea and every ocean on this great big world," the girl replied. "Since you are here today, does it mean there are creatures nearby who need saving? Have you come to ask for my help?"
The turtle nodded again. He did not care to talk very much, being a turtle of few words. But here it was necessary. "I have seen you visit the seashore many..." "Sorry to interrupt the story." Stephen here. Thank you so much for listening to this little demo of my new official audiobook over on Audible, The Great Blue Turtle, by Paul W. Samuelson. If you'd like to listen to the rest of this story and the other 2 stories that make up the 3 adventure stories for children featuring the world-famous giant turtle, then there is a link in the video description as well as in the comment section down below. Give that a click, head over to Audible. You can even try it for free if you're new to Audible and you use Amazon Prime. You can get 2 free audiobooks during your trial. And if you do give it a go, please do just take a minute or so to leave a review. It can really help give the audiobook a boost. And of course, Paul and I would hugely appreciate the feedback. The audiobook runs at about 75 minutes and is aimed generally towards younger children. But of course, It's there for anybody to enjoy. So thanks again for listening, and read to you soon.